I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Teresa, please call the roll.
Okay, Mayor Jones.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Bowen.
Here.
Barons. Here. Mattson. Here. And Jacks.
Yes. All right, is there any additions or approval for the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Keel? Yes. Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, how about action on the minutes from the 7/16 meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from 7/16.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel? Yes. Barons?
Yes.
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 No bills?
No bills.
All right, any public comments regarding anything that is not on the agenda? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to visitors. Lori Johnson is here to give us her yearly report on the 2024 Park and Rec Summer Program. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks. I'm Laura Johnson, Director of Park and Rec. I've been doing it, I can't even remember how many years. I want to say this is my 9th year with a break in there somewhere. So it was another good season of Park and Rec. For those of you who don't know, the program is free to Hartford area youth, and this year it was held July 8th through August 2nd. We had about 103 kids, ages 1st through 6th grade registered for the program. It was a large group, but we had a great time. The program was held with like 1st and 2nd from 8:30 to 9:30, 3rd and 4th grade from 9:30 to 10:30, and 5th and 6th from 10:30 to 12:30. And they were all pretty average, 30-ish kids in each group. Typical day consisted of crafts and then games, dodgeball always being their favorites. Our end of the season party was a real hit this year. We started off with water games. We had a visit from the SDSU ice cream truck and then a pizza party at the end. Many of the parents we spoke to said Park and Rec was a highlight of the summer for all of the kids. And Kathy O'Hara, Emmett Rywich and Andrew Rywich were the helpers this year, and they were last year too. Did a great job. We had a really successful year. We were able to stay under budget, and we just want to thank the city for allowing this free program to work for our youth of Hartford.
Well, we appreciate all the work you put in. Any questions, comments from the council?
Any suggested changes for next year that we should be thinking about?
I mean, I think we've kind of tweaked things as we go a little bits to make it the age. We've kind of tweaked the ages a little bit to make it a little more feasible for the kids that come, because there is only 4 of us, and just little things here and there, and it's really working well, I think. So
How many kids would you have to have before you max out?
we do 50 a group. We never get to that, or we haven't. We have asked that daycare centers. They've used to come years ago, but that almost got to be a lot and too much. So we put a cap, and they don't come anymore. I shouldn't say daycare. We got a couple, like the school care program would come, and that's a lot of kids. So that became too much, but they completely understood. They haven't even asked to come in years. So, but otherwise, no, I think it's going really well. So.
Jenny monitors the city's Facebook page, and she printed off a bunch of comments people had on. They were all positive. They were very happy that we offered it. Their kids enjoyed it. So, yeah, Laura and her group do a good job.
And I'm always welcome to suggestions. So.
Facilities are good, you guys
Yeah,
are.
it's really nice since we've had the stage amphitheater up there with the closet. We can put our supplies up there, so it's right there, which makes it so much nicer. I used to haul back and forth from here every day, so that works good. It's just a really nice place. We switched it to July a little bit to kind of not interrupt Jamboree days, because sometimes we were kind of overlapping a little, and people would come in and set up for things and do things, so moved it to July. But it's really worked because I think by July, kids are ready to see their friends again, and they're kind of missing school and the people they don't get to see during the summer, so July's done really well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura. You bet. Next, we'll go to applications, agreements, hearings, resolutions, ordinances, 7:05. It looks like we're there. Public hearing on zoning amendments. First one would be second reading of ordinance 753, which is the zoning regulation regarding houses. No changes from first reading?
Yep, no changes since first reading, so like I said, this just adds an extra layer of regulations. If you were going to build a house, you would have to follow these. And it also would allow them in residential as a conditional use versus a permitted. So anytime you want to build a house, you would have to come in front of the planning and zoning board for them to review your plans. Yeah.
Do we need to take separate actions?
Or can we do them both at once, or do you want separate?
It would probably be cleaner if you did them both separate.
Yeah.
Or-
I think
Yeah.
so.
I think so.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the second reading on zoning amendment ordinance 753.
Any discussion?
Just a question, I apologize for missing that discussion last meeting. I assume that the standard for a house, the roof standard would be the same as it would be for a stick built.
Yes.
Or
Correct.
the raised seam roof without.
Yep, they gotta have the same pitch and whatnot.
Sure.
They still gotta follow those design standards,
Yep,
so.
okay.
Yep,
Yep.
that's why we refer to our design standards
Yep.
in the ordinance,
All
so.
right,
Just so they know they gotta follow those design standards.
Makes sense, perfect, thank you.
All right, any other discussion? If not, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons? Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, how about the next one is ordinance 754, which regards zoning regulations for tiny houses.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 754 for tiny homes.
Second.
All right, any discussion on this one? Again, no changes from first reading, correct?
Yep, correct.
All right. Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barons? Jazz?
Yes.
All right, next up, first reading of ordinance 755. This is the one we talked about on transient merchants peddlers. Information's in your packet. In talking with Sean today, you had,
Yeah, I've got a, well, I guess I'll wait for you to give me the floor.
I'll give you the floor, Sean.
And Teresa, correct me if I'm wrong, so I looked through our ordinances with peddlers, and right now, I could be wrong, I've been known to be wrong before, you can ask my wife on that. It doesn't appear that there's any penalty for people that are peddling without a license, and I know that is going on. I've talked to people in the community, so can you confirm that there
So-
is no penalty in our ordinance for people doing it without a license?
So some of our ordinances have specific penalties attached
Okay.
to them. If there's an ordinance violation with no specific penalty attached, at the end of our municipal regulations, very last chapter says, penalties for any violation of an ordinance that's not stated within the ordinance can be up to $200 per day per offense. So our penalty would be $200 a day, unless you want to put something specific in this ordinance, which we can do.
Yeah, so I would like to, and we're just in the discussion period, so I know there's some pretty passionate, feelings on this. I think penalize, because I know what's going on, that's why I'm a huge proponent of getting a written penalty specific to this. And then also, one thing I just thought of, which is kind of off the cuff, would be peddling can only happen Monday through Saturday with this ordinance. And so, those are some of my just thoughts and opinions, where we should incorporate some form of penalty specifically for this, with the addition of, if this penalty is broken, one strike, maybe that's $200. But if you get 2 or 3 strikes, like if this is like an ongoing thing, then I would like to make a proposition to the council to for repeat offenders, that there would be a ban, a ban on that, on those people that are causing those specific issues. So there's a couple things there, open up the floor, hopefully have some good discussion.
Without looking back on that, you had the ordinance, I think, in the last packet.
Yeah.
Without looking back on that, is there a time frame that they can, is there like a 9 AM to 9 PM set in that?
I don't believe there is.
I think I'd be in favor of a time frame
I would too
and
as
the
well.
days of the week.
Yep, and you can add that into this.
I'm not a fan of adding more detail to it. I prefer to stick with the general. I think it's probably
As far as
over-regulating by adding,
adding
like,
penalty or something?
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of detail.
I'm comfortable if we're covered with a $200 fine.
Per day, which is a lot, so if they break that.
Per day, per offense, so.
Which is in our general language.
Right, it's in
Correct.
the last chapter, yeah, of our municipal regulations, that there's no specific
So,
penalty. That's-
You guys would propose to add the 9, what did you say, 9 to 9, or you want to go?
Oh, I just threw numbers out there, I don't know what you guys would think as far as times, I mean,
There's criminal state law.
There's language already on ordinances that say between 8 PM and 9 AM.
I'm just trying to look.
in our ordinance then?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Portion
state
now,
law,
I think.
codified.
Oh, state.
No, this
Oh,
is your
Oh, it's
ordinance.
ours,
Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna try to.
Who are you, by the way?
I'm filling in for Tom Freeberg tonight.
Oh, gotcha,
Thanks for
okay.
He didn't have
perfect.
been busy,
Awesome.
so I figured I would.
I thought, he's sitting right next to Davey, and I thought if we had a problem here, we could.
And then under the current ordinance, if somebody is a repeat offender, you have the city has the ability to revoke their license.
I would like to, with all that already in there, I would like to restrict it to Monday to Saturday.
Does it
So
say
people
that,
are-
or does it not say that?
It says specifically between 8 PM and 9 AM or any time on Sunday, so there's.
Oh,
no
it is already
restriction except
laid
for
out.
Sunday.
Great idea, Sean.
Hey, look at me go. So they can't pedal on Sunday, is what our ordinance says.
Correct.
Okay. And then if they are breaking that ordinance, then we can penalize them
Correct.
per that language.
Yep.
Okay?
So what we're saying is the ordinance we have written is pretty good.
Yep, and I have one more question, sorry. On this, the only thing that I would be curious on is, we ask them, when the peddler comes, Teresa, you guys, I mean, they have to fill out a form.
There's an
So
application
if
form.
they've got 3 peddlers, we're gonna be here for 5 days, that money is taken up front, right?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. We don't issue the license until they
Until
fill
that's
in all the
paid.
information with all the criteria, pay their fees, and, yeah, before we give them a
And
license.
there, do you give them notice of the ordinance then?
Yeah, we have the ordinance printed out, and it's in the file, isn't it?
It's in the file,
Yeah.
I'm not
That
sure
we
we
do.
hand it out. But we certainly can start.
At $200 a day.
Oh, yeah, that's
Probably
hefty.
tell them.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know
the
if you
people
wanna
that
give
are
them
at,
ordinance or
the
just.
thing is, the people that are at the city hall don't need to know about the fine because the people who are breaking it aren't reading the ordinance.
So
As long as
you
they don't come on
probably,
Sunday
we'll get a
or
license on
longer.
there.
Yeah, that's true, it doesn't have the time for it,
It could possibly be added to the.
Yeah, just
The
some
form.
bullets. Give them the ordinance.
Have we ever had anybody get turned in for peddling when they don't have a license, or?
we've had people call it in, and then we send Damien out, or
Okay.
a deputy that's around, and usually we talk to them, tell them what the regulations are, right, and
Gotcha.
tell
I
them
was
they
just
can't,
curious how it
if
was.
they don't got it.
Years ago, like 2-3 years ago, we had peddlers up in Baltic. No sales tax license, no peddler's license, and they're habitual offenders in Sioux Falls. And they got arrested and cited because they just kept on doing it. So they, at first, yeah, warning, and then issued, then citations were issued. They kept on going, then eventually they were arrested.
Okay. All right, so with all that said, are we good with the way, for first reading, the way it's written?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance, 755.
Second.
Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right? I did, I was waiting. I slowed down.
I buttered it up for you, didn't I?
All right, next up is resolution 2024-9, our general assessment policy. And this is to, once again, raise the rate. Well, we haven't raised it since 2022, so it's not like we did it yet.
Yeah, last year we didn't make any changes, and
Okay.
we've done the practice, we review this annually now.
Yeah.
Last year there was no changes. This year, our discussion at the last meeting was to raise it $25.
$25, so we're
The
going
street assessment part of it from $225 to $250 was what was discussed.
Yeah.
When will this go into effect?
So if this gets passed tonight, it will have to be published in the paper, which will be next Friday, because it's too late to get in this, and then it's 20 days after that, so it's about a month. It'll go into effect.
Motion to table this until our next council meeting.
Second.
No discussion on the table, let's vote. Jazz?
Yeah.
Barrett?
Yeah.
Keel?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Bone?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Was that a yes or
Was that a yes with a question mark? All right. Make sure we get that on the next
Yep,
agenda.
we'll put it on the next agenda.
Thank you. All right, let's hit down to reports. First up, Minnehaha County Deputy Sheriff Cardis.
Hello, everyone. July was a pretty busy month for the city of Hartford. We had 234 calls, and 31 days out of it, 7.5 calls per day. Just a few things to highlight. We had 3 accidents, all non-injury. This month we had a string of burglaries. The city of Hartford hasn't had like storage unit break-ins about 3 years or so. So it's the main culprit that we believe is doing this has been apprehended. So hopefully this can come to us for our storage units here in town. Traffic stops, complaints, enforcement, control, hazard, we had 56. Case reports, 17, and 4 arrests were made in these last 31 days of July. So that's all I really got. And when we get to the Van Mark stuff, I have some other stuff.
Yep. Yep. Any questions for the deputy?
Is your body camera rolling?
No.
The green light was on, so.
I noticed that too, I was like,
No, we're not rolling. No. If it's blinking red,
But it is charged.
I thought you were gonna say, is your taser armed?
Not right now, no.
That's probably the next logical question. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, deputy.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Next up, Economic Development Director, Amy Barr.
Thank you. A couple of things. Today was the HADF's intern's last day. She did a great job. She did some amazing posts that will continue on after she has now left. We wish her luck in her senior year at USD. Community guides were mailed out this past Monday, so they should be in mailboxes by now. We had the opportunity to participate in another Zoom call with the SDDANR yesterday, and we'll have another one with them in the next week or two. I also had the opportunity to meet with an individual that came in wanting to know more about North Oaks Industrial Park and what lots were available, so that was great to see that. The HADF did receive 1 resignation, so there is a spot available for 1 year and 4 months roughly for a new board member possibly. And then applications are also being accepted now for the next year of the 3-year term. So there will be 3 board terms, or board members' terms that will be completed this December of 2024. And we already have 1 interested party, so I've already sent that application off.
What's the significance of meeting with DANR?
Regarding the wetlands, since we heard back from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they said they were non-jurisdictional. We did all the permitting and the due diligence needed to move forward with our project, and an individual from their team came out to look at, I believe, a storm sewer, and took some photos and sent me a letter saying we were out of compliance, and so we've been working with them to resolve the issue.
Out of compliance in a new development?
Yes, because of the wetlands, because now, even though the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers says that it's non-jurisdictional, then they become waters of the state, and they've never been,
From my understanding, there's some work to gain some clarity on the state stance on this issue. There was an understanding that it was non-jurisdictional, went to the state, that there weren't regulations regarding that. With this recent event, I'll say, with that individual stating that letter, there's little gray area. So I haven't been part of the meetings, but from my understanding, it's having that coordination with Danner to understand what's what and what their path forward is, correct, Amy?
correct.
It's getting looked into by a lot of folks in the industry right now.
Correct.
So,
And how much of an impact is that to the street and the funding that we?
Nothing for your
Nothing
project,
with
it's
street.
just specific to the grading only.
This is the grading project that the HADF is doing.
Just
It's
specific to the
wetlands on their
ponds.
property, so it doesn't affect the street project.
Yeah.
And I was in that meeting this morning, there was a pretty good conversation on that. There's a lot of context that's too deep to probably go into right now. A couple things on that, because I know construction's gonna move forward,
Correct.
right? Worst case scenario, and I'm not looking for you to answer this, and I know the mayor was there, worst case scenario, let's say Danner decides to push the limits on this thing, what happens, who's responsible?
The
HADF is?
HADF would be responsible, and there could be a penalty, we might have to buy from a wetlands bank,
Yeah.
or possible imprisonment up to a year, which the board decided that would be me taking that one.
Okay.
Thanks,
and then-
board.
Yep, appreciate that.
And then another question from an engineering perspective, because have you seen this before, ever, in any development that you've?
so this is recent because there's recent waters, the Wotus ruling, which was fairly recent in the past year or two. That's what's kind of triggering some of these other trickle-down effects, right? So previously, there was more stringent regulations through the Corps that would require more permitting, more processes to go through, right? So that would pretty much trump anything at the state level. So due to that previous regulations, everybody was on that. If you violated that, it was blanket air, and then you'd be punished as such.
Right.
With this new ruling, seeing where the state stance is.
Did we get, I'm sorry, finish it.
So I have not seen this in particular yet in the state of South Dakota.
Did we get a step out of order, or?
No, we followed all due diligence needed.
How about infrastructure design group, because obviously they're the engineer specifically in that project, I mean, the question, and I'm just looking out for the HADF, that's largely funded by taxpayer dollars, and so everyone has a piece of that pie. Did they, and I wish that they were here to answer questions, did they, I guess, do their due diligence, or is this something like, hey, we know that this could happen, but it hasn't happened, so we're gonna do it? And that's a question really for the HADF, I think, to go back to IDG. I'm just throwing it out.
I guess knowing IDG a little bit, I don't think it's the latter.
Okay.
I think they were
Fair enough.
looking for it, with our perspective too, we were working in line with IDG to make sure all of our T's were crossed, I's were dotted, again, can't speak for them, but, the ethics in our industry is pretty high, so I don't think any engineer is gonna blatantly do that, right? Again, can't speak for them, but my understanding is they're working hard to try to find a solution alongside of that too, so. As well as a lot of the engineers, because even though it affects this project specifically, there's a lot of wetlands in South Dakota, there's a lot of development in South Dakota, and I think everybody's looking for answers.
Danner did sign off on the plans.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's the
It
other
was in
thing.
their plans.
That's the
I did the proper permitting and everything requested of us, so.
And if you read that I read the
I did.
documentation that you sent today, Amy, boy, if you read the pages that are specific to South Dakota, there's in my opinion, I don't know how they make this stick. Because it says right in there, you cannot, if it's something that the state says, or the feds say is okay, the state can't come in and trump that and say, no, that's not okay. That's the way I read it.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, so,
And if anyone would like a copy, I can send it to you. It's
it's
246
240 some
pages.
pages. and
But I'll
read
tell
all.
you, you wanna look at page 12 and 198. I will send it to Sean. Anybody else want it?
Just those pages.
Just
Yeah,
those.
just
All
the-
of
yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Just
some of those
12 and
pages.
190.
Yeah, I'll take
You don't
it.
want all of them?
No, I don't want all of them.
I
Wrote
will,
that Karen in the notes.
I will send
please.
12 and 198.
I've got my own code book, I need to
Well,
familiarize myself.
Okay.
I guess to kind of wrap this, I would say there is a lot of people that got their eyes on this deal.
Mhm.
We got some state senators, we got some people asking
Engineers,
some questions
attorneys,
on this.
other industry people looking
So.
at it.
All right?
No such thing as bad publicity.
Oh, I don't know about that. Anyway,
That's what I was thinking.
anything else, Amy?
No, sir.
I couldn't imagine having to meet with them at this point could have been a positive or planned interaction.
Yeah.
It was okay for the most part. I mean, a couple of
First one
comments.
was a little.
A little heated on
Tense.
the first one,
Yeah.
yeah. But yesterday's was okay.
All right. Chamber Director Wynn's packet is, our info is in the packet. She is, I believe, on her way to Alaska,
I was gonna
so we
just
won't
mention that,
ask her
she
for
will
any
be out of the
questions
office for
right
about
now.
a week, cause she's headed to Alaska.
All right, let's move on to the most exciting time of the evening, engineers report.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm just glad you still introduced that section. That was out my book here. A quick introduction. I brought Ellie with me. Ellie's-
Oh, I've met Ellie before.
Yes, Ellie
Yeah.
is a civil intern with us. Maybe a quick introduction.
Yeah, my name's Ellie, like Justin said, and I'm an intern in the Sioux Falls office. I'm gonna start my junior year at Dordt University in just a couple weeks. This summer, I worked on a variety of projects at the office, and one of my goals was just to get some exposure to the work we do directly with clients and communities. So I'm happy to be here tonight.
She got to stand around and listen to us talk down at your, down on Easter.
I recall.
Yes.
Nice to see you again.
So,
So,
all right,
jumping into the report.
fire away.
General engineering update, you guys will likely be seeing some of the park space education and ordinance, come in here shortly once it gets through P and Z. In addition, currently had 4 plan reviews that were review and, provide comments back to Teresa. 6 month roadway reconstruction, no update on that, we still do have outstanding punch list. To take some steps to get further on this one, did talk with the contractor on one item in particular, there's some sidewalk that was cracked. He noted just not available to have crews come in and make it efficient on that. Talking with Craig, we could likely work something out on the city side. There are a few other, those small lingering items out there. My proposal would be to work to maybe volunteer Craig to see what it takes to get those, but work with Craig, see what those dollars look like. We can pull that out of retainage, get that punch list work completed and get that project closed out.
I'd really like this one off there by the next meeting.
Me too. I'll try to make that our goal.
Okay?
Well, it'll still be on there because we'll come in for final approval and acceptance, so it'll be on there once more.
It would appear that the contractor has decided it makes more sense for us to just take it out of his final draw
Yep.
And get it done.
than for him to get it done.
Yep,
Yep.
so that's what we'll move forward with.
Okay.
Water resource recovery facility, just some quick updates on there. We do have a pay request associated with this one too. But continuing work on the Aeromod tank, if you guys have drove by there lately, there's a lot more walkways and stuff going on since our site visit out there. Also doing a lot of the internal work there that we can't see. On the backside, if you recall on our tour, there's the cascaded UV on the backside. That's where some of the concrete payment comes in on this pay request. So getting most of the structure work done. They're about halfway done with the cascaded UV. Mechanical and electrical conduits are starting to be installed. Electrical and more Aeromod supply systems are coming in. Quick update on Mickelson Road. Based on current updated schedule, Mickelson Road is anticipated to be closed down September 23rd through October 14th. So that's when they take that sewer across, the gravity main across. So once we get closer to that September, we were gonna provide a 3-week notice. We'll still hit that. I don't anticipate it taking necessarily the 3 weeks to get through and build that back up, a little bit of contingency in there, but just making sure everything goes as planned. When we get through, we'll be built back up and opened up. as quick as we can.
Are you gonna be able to pave that yet? Put some pavement in there
Yes.
so you can?
Yeah,
What were those dates again? September 23rd, October 14th, is
that's
that right?
correct. Yep.
Can we give the school a little bit more advance notice?
Yes. Yep.
I assume we'll be on bus traffic and
Kid traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start
there's
giving
a lot
up
of
this,
buses that go down that route now.
this preliminary schedule and try to update it bi-weekly when we have our, progress updates with Translate.
What's the intersection again? No, you said Mickelson.
Mickelson and 38 essentially.
Okay.
Other than that, everything is still staying on track, moving along, still looking good to hit our compliance schedule with construction completed in the summer of 2025. Talking with Rice Lake today, their goal is to have nearly all excavation equipment off-site this year on the, call it operation side. So it'll just be internal workings after that. So that's their goal. So really good there. Like I said, we do have a pay request in here, so this is another one. We gave you a small one for that 1 month. This jumped back up to just shy of that $1 million. Again, this includes general conditions, concrete at the UV cascade structure, plumbing, electrical, and supply of the airline system. It was reviewed, everything in check, wanting to know if there was no addition on the contingency use form. So we're still sitting at $409,000 on contingency for the project. So.
I like how you looked at me when you said that, because I always ask that question.
Yeah, I just hit it in there, work it in there for you, so.
All right, we'll deal with that when we get done with the report,
Yep,
all right? 'Cause it's
absolutely.
at the bottom of our packet,
Yep.
so.
Next one is the Highway 38 water main project. So just recall this project is a water main loop. Goes all the way south of Highway 38, up along connection up by Colton Road there. That will be a water main loop, but also serve some development in that area. So we did get that out to bid. Bids will be due August 28th, towards the end of the month here. For construction timeline, we have an intermittent deadline to get across Highway 38 by this November, final completion this spring. So
And I did talk to Justin this afternoon because there's a potential easement that they're working on with Windsor Group.
yeah, so we've been coordinating this water main location with the Windsor Group, as well as timing and coordination with it too. Like I said, the main not only creates a loop for the city, redundancy, water quality, but service for their development too. It's been noted to us that they will need service this spring. So that's where we had our final completion date in the spring. We wanted that intermittent completion date to get across Highway 38 this fall. Just get all that area cleaned up, call it where our gravity main for the sewer is going in. So there is a chance that the same contractor could potentially do and everything, but it is low bid, so we'll see where the dollars fall at the end of the day. So Western Avenue, no update on that. We're getting closer to our bid letting this fall. We'll just continue to work with residents as questions come up and continue that. Once we do have our bids, obviously let you guys know, but then committed to all the property owners along there that we would have another meeting with them. Hopefully with the contractor, just to review the project, what they're seeing for staging, anticipated timeline, etc. Once we do jump into construction, it's a while from now, but we will have bi-weekly meetings with the contractor, as well as proposed bi-weekly meetings with residents, have them alternating weeks to keep everybody in the loop. So,
How much effect to traffic on 38 will there be due to that? Will it be pretty normal? Because they'll bore it and.
yeah, for the water main looping, yep, anticipating no significant impact. So also that works, call it in the ditch of the road off the shoulder. So there will be a little bit in railroad there where we do poke in, but
I've got a couple questions, but I don't know if it's that time.
Let's do that before we do the pay request.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I got the floor again?
Yep, fire away.
Okay, so with that project on Mickelson and 38, those residents will get about a 3-week notice, right? Which is, I think you guys have done a good job, especially if it's Western Avenue, there's always a notice, right? I had a call with a citizen today off of Eastern Avenue.
okay.
And I'm trying to get all the contacts. I missed the whole meeting, but I guess I am curious, and Justin, you may or may not be able to answer these questions, I'm sure other officials up here can answer that, but, you know, the citizen had some very, I would say, real legit concerns, driveway damage, ruts in their yard, drainage issues from their shop. So the school built half of the road, okay? Is that, in the perfect world, that road should have been, that design standard, everything should have been approved by ISG, in the perfect world. Now, it sounds like the GC did not communicate anything to anybody that they're putting a road in there, or what? Where is that missing link of communication?
That road was on site plans that were approved by us.
Okay.
So, you know, in reviewing this project, understanding that the portion of the road that was replaced was directly impacted as part of the scope of the project for the school, right? So, at that time, when we were reviewing plans and the stance, you know, from us on the reviewing side is that we would require the school to replace the road from what was impacted by utilities, grading, access, etc. So that's where it ended, where it was at. Now, in terms of some of the concerns with the driveway damage, runoff, the school and the school's contractor should be held liable for that and make sure that's taken care of. It'd be no different than a public improvement project. If there's any damages to driveways, private property, whatever it is, that contractor is held liable.
Who's supposed to let the neighbors know if their roads are blocked off from a project like that?
In my opinion on that one, it should have been the school coordinating that construction.
Okay.
Now, I can always offer up to jump in and handle some of that coordination. The big challenge on a project like that with the school, with the school's GC and the school's subs, and we have seen this, there's a lot of moving parts on that project that change on the daily or weekly basis, right? My concern is if we jump in a situation like that, we're relaying old information every time, right? So we can try to do that, but moving forward, in my opinion, with a project like that where it's a private project with those adjacent property owners affected, it should be the responsibility of that GC or that entity to make sure all those residents are aware. Now, we can also take those additional steps to check in, make sure they're being heard, and if they're not, try to connect that link in there.
The
But
problem, excuse me, Sean.
No, go ahead, Mayor.
The problem with this deal is, yes, it's a private project, but at the end of the day, that's our road. We own it because we have to maintain it and keep it.
right,
And if we're sidestepping, meeting our road standards and getting this road, and hopefully we're not, hopefully we're meeting all the standards.
So the road standards will, yeah, that's still observed by us.
How about the sidewalk?
If it's a
for our
public
ordinance?
street, we will do, you know, our density proof roll, and check on paving, make sure we have our grading, we'll do those inspections.
Did we?
For the private streets, yes, we did. Yeah.
Okay,
Where's the sidewalk at, per the ordinance that we put in about a year ago? There's supposed to be a sidewalk there on the west side.
On the west side.
On the west side. Where was that at in the drawings?
That was not included in the drawings.
Is there supposed to be a sidewalk there per city ordinance? Yes or no? I mean, I thought we approved,
I'll
we
have to
approved
vote.
the
Every city
ordinance
project we
that
put
if
it
we
in.
do a construction or a road, you know, like what we had up on Mont,
yeah, but that's the hangup,
That's
Teresa.
it, that's what I'm
The
saying, that's
hangup
where
is,
the disconnect is.
it's a
This
private,
wasn't a
but
city
we
project,
end
it
up,
was a
it's
private.
our road.
but our city
I know.
engineer.
I understand what you're saying, I'm just saying.
Yep.
Okay, stop you for a minute.
Yep.
Amy, what would you call the HADF project? A public or a private project?
I'd say private.
So, but they're not putting sidewalks in, right? That's up to the adjacent property owner. Okay. Isn't every project in this city private until it becomes public?
And that's what I was gonna say, and I'm glad you bring that up, Travis. There's a lot of nuances here, and kind of what I'm hearing, I think we need to get in the routine of, you know, noted there were 4 plan reviews. I think within the report, we can document a plan review. Obviously, we wanna make sure we're far enough, that way we're not talking about confidential information on some of these plan reviews. But we get far enough along and we talk about was platted right away, but if there's not platted, let's take Windsor Development, for example,
Right.
right? Because that's a blank slate, the plans are gonna include public improvements, you know, so that's gonna be the roadway, utilities, et cetera. We're reviewing that on our side. In a situation like that, sidewalks are not gonna be installed along residential areas, just the curb ramps, and then when those lots get developed, that's when the sidewalk gets placed in. But that's greenfield development, right? Now, if we do have some of these other, call it like an infill lot, so if it's an infill in the middle of the city, there's no sidewalk there, we would require sidewalk as part of that. But I think it would be good just to make sure we're all on the same page here, say, you know, for one of these site plans that's coming up, the public impact is that there's gonna be a sewer service that goes into the street to connect to the existing main. There's an existing service for that site, but it's in conflict and it doesn't work with the site. The street is gonna be tore up, we're gonna do a full West Street patch, so the street will be put back to the city standards. So if I give you guys that information, I think that allows you guys to ask some of those questions. And if it does come into sidewalks, whether we wanna push that or not push that, we can have that as a discussion point here and make sure everybody's on the same page. Is that something you guys would want to include, or how would we like to move forward on just making sure we have enough information? Because there are gonna be some nuances in these things, right? Every situation's a little different. We need plans to follow the ordinance to the maximum extent practical, and understanding where some of those limits and call it limits of construction on it too. Because on the flip side too, Hartford has been very developer friendly, I will say. We just want to make sure we keep that in mind too, and not go too far on the other side, right? Not let our peaks make our valleys.
I think this specific project, because it got as far as it did, before I would say anybody at this table really gathered or knew what.
The project is done.
Well, yeah.
It's complete. We're talking about everything in the rears. You asked me to put a few bullet points together as an adjacent property owner to my knowledge of this project, and I have one bullet point. Well, two if you count the fact that it's done. One being, I was made aware of this project. I don't remember if it's because I'm privy to some information via on city council, or if Teresa mentioned it to me, or if I in passing noticed that there was a building permit for the school, and I saw the plans, and there was some, I believe the plans that we have and the final project, as far as the parking in that street are concerned, are not identical. I think there's a discrepancy there.
A lot of revisions in there.
So,
Yep.
to your point, when you're saying that the information provided to us is in the rears, we would have been fine getting that information in the rears because it was such a slow-moving project.
Right.
So that's not a great excuse. The area of improvement here, in my opinion, has to be borne directly on our city engineer and our city staff. We rely on you guys to be the eyes and the ears. You're the liaison between these builders. This is a street project that has curb and gutter. It's missing a sidewalk, so it's not to standard. My understanding is the infrastructure underneath of it is old, and it's created a water problem. It's created a drainage problem for adjacent property owners. That is not a good, that reflects poorly on the city and the city engineer and this council, because why are we ignorant to it? We don't know what we don't know. And I don't make a habit of running around town checking on projects. I really don't. So, I think, especially when there's millions of dollars sitting in the city budget, if the city needs to cough up some money to work in conjunction with a private development on a public street, we need to address that, and we need to address that early. Because it seems really silly to me, if that street doesn't need to be torn up in a year because this is how these things go, because of something underneath of it failing, I will be tickled. I'll be absolutely tickled. It's like you put the final coat of paint on the wall and the water pipe behind it leaks, you know, that sort of a thing. So I'm a little concerned that we've really missed an opportunity to share some expense on a project. And I really don't know who to be mad at. other than myself, as a property owner, for not, I guess, being more diligent in making sure that I wasn't getting screwed over. Because that's currently the situation, is we got a problem.
Yeah, like, and Travis, I agree with everything you said, and like I said, I talked to a gal today, and I'm not gonna beat this any more than it needs to be, but I don't want to have a discussion, just have a discussion. It's, the gal I talked to today is suffering very real consequences of the water running off of that road and tearing up her driveway. And that, now, and that's, you know, and there needs to be finger pointing happening, but how is she gonna be squared away fairly on this, right? Like, if I'm in her position and I've got this going on, like, I'm pissed. And I'm actually pissed for her after talking to her for 40 minutes on the phone today. And that's where, you know, you're the liaison, so I'm not putting the entire burden on you, but I wanna know, and I'm gonna stay in touch with her, but something has to be done. And I don't know who to talk to so that her property is put back to how it was before that construction started going in. And also,
It will never be.
but also,
It'll never stay that
to
way.
put half of a road, I'm not an engineer, but to half of a road on a 150, it's probably 100-yard Eastern Avenue, that's about 100 yards, 80 yards.
That street from Railroad to First is about 450 feet, there's about 115 of it improved.
So when I look at that, and I didn't see once again, I'm not trying to bully anybody, and you know, Justin, we've had great conversations, so obviously I make my opinion heard, but in what design world does it make sense putting half of a road there? If this council was proposing this project, hey guys, we have this opportunity, the school's gonna pay for, it's gonna cost an extra $200,000 or whatever to just pave this whole thing and do it, or whatever that cost is. I would have loved to see that opportunity, because now you're driving and you go from gravel to there and it looks like crap. It does. And it just does not make sense. I'm not gonna hammer this too much, I said that a few minutes ago. But what I do wanna say, and I do wanna say that something needs to be done about with this gal's property, and if that's on the school, then that's on the school.
I know they've addressed it.
If that's on the GC, then that's on the GC.
They've addressed it, but,
They've addressed it.
so, I'll ask the next question. So who's gonna follow up to make sure that they do that? Is that Justin, is that Craig, is it both of you?
I can I'll take that responsibility to.
Because somebody's gonna need to follow up to make sure that that gets done.
Yeah, to make sure that we get it, or.
I have to believe that my property value has actually been lowered because I have 15 feet of curb and gutter in front of my house. It's like, well, it's almost there. That's a really nice curb appeal, kind of, sort of. Looks like shit. It's disappointing. Really disappointing.
Because even though you write her property to where it was, it'll have ongoing issues
Yeah,
afterward.
absolutely.
And it's on the city.
So I thought, man, the home run is, I will take the petition down, I'll get the West Central, on board with this, they'll sign it, and then Dr. Knight says, well, just so you know, we waited about 2 months to get this thing finalized, and I don't know what the intricacies of that are, but he followed that up with, and we have $1 million plus parking lot to put in, so, I don't know, $50,000 is this West Central share on this. Boy, I'll take it to the board, we'll see. We can defer this out over 10 years, yeah, that might be an option, but I think I'm screwed. I think I'm screwed unless I get everybody on the west side of that street to sign that petition, and the guy with the curb and gutter isn't gonna sign it. So I don't have enough, I don't think I have enough footage, I don't know. I think I'm in a pickle.
The guy that's already on the corner,
He's already got curb and gutter.
he would have to pay.
He wouldn't have to,
No, because he faces.
You have
doesn't
to
pay.
put in sidewalk.
I need over 50%.
Gotcha. Of where it's not paved.
Right, where it's not paved,
Gotcha.
but I can't get it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just, maybe the more minor part of it,
but I'm disappointed too, in terms of the amount of time we've spent talking about sidewalks, especially around school, and I get it, it's a private project, but the answer is yes, we do wanna talk about it, because anytime we are putting or improving a road, I think we're very, coalesced around the idea of having sidewalks, and now it's across the street from the school. And, you know, maybe it's not a highly traveled area on foot, I don't know, but
My goodness, you have those kids coming over from Turtle Creek,
Yeah,
across the road, that's a main vein.
so, whatever, however it fell through the cracks, we don't want it to again. I mean,
All right, anything else?
One more thing, I'm done.
I was gonna have to get.
I know,
I was
yeah,
gonna
you got
reach
gavel,
for the
yeah,
gavel.
but that was my time.
All right,
I think I'm understanding, I'm following on this situation, but still maybe a little unclarity on what we wanna do moving forward when we get to this. I mean, like I noted in the report, would you guys like to know what the impacts are to the public as part of that, or, you know, how do we wanna get
I want
this
the property owners
communication
taken care of and their properties returned to how they were.
Yeah,
And like I said, sorry, I'm speaking out of turn, I'm sorry, but that phone call I had today
yeah,
was unacceptable.
right.
That's where you come into play, we gotta get that problem
Yep.
solved.
I think I'd
But-
strongly encourage the other engineer and the school to deal with it by finishing the road rather than having to take private action about damage to property and ongoing issues. I don't think 50,000 is very much to take care of that liability.
I think more information on the front end for this group would be better than, oh, by the way. Because when we get to, oh, by the way, horse is out of the barn.
And I do think any street that's.
Yeah, but let's use, what's our last development? Knapp's Landing, let's use Knapp's Landing. So they put streets in, sidewalks in, we've probably seen those plans. You guys probably watched over that, was that back in previous engineer's time? Previous engineer's time?
I always chuckle how much work gets done on these developments on Saturdays. I just, you know, it's quiet there all week and then Saturday rolls around and man, they're really making hay.
They're rolling.
What are they hiding?
The engineers have been up on this one even on Saturdays, and I know a lot of the projects that the city's done in the past 10 years, they've had an engineer come in on Saturday to oversee
Right,
the
That's
projects.
good. I didn't see that in apps much, if ever, but.
All right, are we good? Does that give you some clarity?
It does.
Justin? All right,
I'll just finish it off. I'll close it up with the West Central School Board is meeting on Monday and they're gonna discuss that, I guess, so.
Is that a public meeting?
Yeah.
So
All right.
Travis, can I just say one quick thing about, so like Knapp's Landing up there,
yeah,
that was private development.
Yes.
So they have their engineer draw the plans, we look them over,
Yep,
we accept them or not accept them,
Right.
if we see something that we want changed, we have changed.
yep,
right,
Their engineer's supposed to be the one that's overseeing it.
right,
They are not paying the money to have these guys there as much as they should.
right.
So that means the city's gonna have to hire our engineer to come and start overseeing these private jobs.
Yep. Which we have to build into our building permits or whatever the case is. We have to cover our costs somehow.
Yep.
Unless we have a developer agreement that states that they have to have their engineer on site on Saturdays, however we can cover that.
right.
It certainly is a concern of mine.
Yeah, but on city projects, we've always had the city engineers,
Okay.
they're working,
Sure.
they're there.
Oh,
Yep.
sure, on city project,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the problem with these.
All right,
Thank you.
all right. Let's, anybody wanna make the motion to approve this pay request 10, or?
Motion to approve pay request number 10 to Rice Lake Construction for $916,676.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm almost afraid to ask. No, I'm not. Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn and Bowen, that's all I gotta say. Mattson?
Yes.
All right. Justin, anything else?
Nothing else.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Public Works Super, we'll get to you guys, okay? Don't look at me like that.
Taking it all in.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are here. Really, I'm glad. Okay, Public Works Superintendent Craig.
Just a couple stuff to add in the report. The pickleball courts, the concrete's been poured. We have fence ordered. Nobody has it in stock, so we do have that order. Should be in a couple weeks, which will still give us a week to get it done before the time frame before they're servicing. So,
Okay.
so we'll be moving along with that as quick as we can. We did get some posts set today that we did have on hand, so we got those in today. And then the concession stand, footings have been poured. They got poured today. They are planning on putting frost walls up starting tomorrow or Friday, and they can get them up on Friday. They'll be pouring that on Friday or Monday. So been working with the plumber and electricians to make sure we get everything stubbed out through the walls before they get bored. So we're moving ahead pretty good right now with that. So that's all I have for, I guess, changes in my report.
I left Craig a present on his desk. I was at the senior citizens for dinner the other day, and they presented me with a piece of plaster that had fell off one of the windows upstairs. And so they said, can you take care of this? And so I brought it to Craig, and we're gonna take care of that.
I got a quick question on the mag water. What streets are typically done with the mag water? So it's Railroad.
So all the gravels get done. So Railroad, Bent, that little bit of Mickelson that we've been doing in the past. 4th Street gets done, Jennifer Drive gets done. We do 100 feet, 100 to 150 feet going north of Vandemark just because of the dust up in that area. 9th Street gets done,
How about does Eastern Avenue typically get done? And I
well,
know
Eastern typically does, but this year they're having all tore up, so we didn't go with Eastern.
once again in my conversation with,
Yep.
hey, I'm here to listen to citizens' complaints and bring in.
No, it does absolutely no good to do that this time. I mean, we could certainly bring him in after that gets all taken care of and under control.
I would say, yeah, because we technically, if we didn't do Eastern Avenue, but we typically have done that in the past.
Yep.
So we're doing less, let's just say if we don't even do Eastern this year, then did we save any money with our mag water by
It's so
not
much,
doing?
it's so much per gallon
It
is
is.
what we pay. Yep.
But what we paid for typically would do the full-on Eastern
Yeah.
and everything else.
So it's roughly, I would say it's about $2 right now a running foot. So if there's 300 feet, it's $600 we save.
Okay. And the invoice should, because I know, well, we approve the budgets, and
Yep.
just because we approve it, they sometimes come in at less than that, right?
They bill us by
That's not enough to pay Eastern.
Yeah, they bill it, yeah.
We do-
$600
Hey,
not gonna cover.
I'm trying.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
do the parking lots.
Thank you for trying.
We do
But I
parking
wanted to
lots
bring
and
that because it
sports
wasn't
complex.
done, but it could get done this year, it could, if it,
Yeah, I mean, he'll come back and shoot it anytime.
Oh, okay.
That's how Jim treats us. I mean, if we have stuff that needs to get touched up, he comes back in.
Yeah.
We
okay.
still have budget money in that mag water for,
Okay. Touch-ups
quite a
and all
bit of
that.
touch-up,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions for Craig before we talk about his request? We have a request for Craig and Neil to attend the South Dakota Water and Wastewater Conference, which is of course in Deadwood,
I just checked the events calendar out there.
Yeah,
That's pretty shame.
okay.
Motion to approve the request to attend the South Dakota Water and Wastewater Association.
Second.
We got multiple seconds. Any discussion?
And I'd just like to say that I would like to go out the day before.
Oh, that's right.
On the Tuesday, because
Yeah.
I have that board meeting with the
Yeah.
state, so.
Yep, that's fine. And I think I also seen on there that Neil is going to drive his car, but doesn't need a hotel, because he's
Correct.
staying somewhere,
He's gonna
so
take
we're
his
gonna
family
wash
for
that
some
out.
days. Yep.
Yep, no problem. All right, we good? We'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel? Yes. Barons?
Yes.
Jed? All right, anything else, Craig?
That's all I got, unless you guys have anything else.
Well, the rest we'll probably deal with.
Yeah, there's something coming up later.
Maybe we have to stay after class, I think.
I'm reading this agenda, I don't envy you at all.
Well, there's some good stuff in there. Water, how it works.
SRF funding.
Oh, they're looking at the
Oh,
golf
it's gonna be
tournament,
a-
the trap shoots, the
it's
bean
gonna be
bags.
Well,
All
they
right.
actually have that on there?
Karen, Finance Officer report?
Yeah, my report's in the packet. Don't really have anything to add. The annual conference for the municipal league is in Sioux Falls this year, so if anybody is interested in going over any of the days, just let me know and I can get you registered.
Is the revenue for June correct?
Pardon me?
Is our revenue for June correct?
Yes?
What's the?
Sometimes it depends on when the.
Yeah, last year, I did look back at last year, why last year was so high, June year to date, and we closed out Mickelson Road, 9th Street, and Vandemark projects, and there was roughly 650,000 left
They
in
came
those
back.
projects that we transferred over to the general fund, basically.
Right.
So it's just, again, the timing of things going on that particular year at that particular month.
Huh,
I was just looking at the
yeah,
revenue above.
It's about 93,000, that's normal. Pretty normal tax load for the first penny tax
Oh.
period.
I have the year to date. And that kind of, if a payment hits timing wise too.
It seems to be at the end of the month payment, and sometimes it hits that last day, the 30th, 31st of one month, or it'll hit the 1st or 2nd of the other month, so that's kind of
So the
year
revenue
timing
at the
one.
top
Yeah.
doesn't add up to the total revenue?
Because that's June of 24, and that revenue up top is July.
Okay.
Right, yeah, it's kind of two different.
I was just there a couple months ago.
I looked at it this time and I'm like,
That was
Yeah.
just like,
I can't make these numbers work.
I can't, like, it's not.
Yeah, because we don't have the July books
Yeah.
done yet
Somebody
to
else,
the
I'll have that question next meeting.
second.
yeah, whose turn is it next month?
Yeah.
Anything else for Karen, because I want to go back to Craig, I just thought of something. So, if you're not aware, we have a leak at the pool. So this afternoon, I happened to be here, and Craig happened to be here at City Hall. And so we had Rhonda pull up our water usage, and I had her go back to 2021 when we knew we didn't have a leak. And the amount of water we used in July in 2021 was like 152,000 gallons. This year, it was 652,000 gallons.
Craig, I'd say your report is not accurate. Everything seems to be working fine.
It's working. It's working. The water inflow works like crazy.
Everything's working fine, just that you
Can't
gotta
get
leave.
warm, huh? Oh, man. So, anyway, just so you're aware, the pool is gonna be on the docket probably here this fall to talk about. But I was shocked that the numbers were that far off.
Do you know anything about the source?
No, and that's what we're gonna, once we get done running the pool this, 2 weeks, when we shut it down, I'm gonna have Neil, shut the chemicals off, shut the water off that we're feeding it with right now, and shut everything down, but just leave the pumps run. And that way we can see where that stabilizes at and see if we can pinpoint whether we think it's an actual leak or if it's going through the pumps or what. We'll be able to do a little playing with it just to see if we can pinpoint where it's at. Right now you can't do anything because you're trying to keep it running and everything else and going, so. And we look back at that leak too, it wasn't as bad, what did we say, like in June?
Yeah,
It was like 200-some thousand
Yeah,
in June.
yeah, yeah.
And then it jumped up to 600 in July.
really went bad. It wasn't bad in June and it really jumped in July.
So it's just been slowly getting worse and worse.
When could we see what that pool actually cost us to use this summer? Could that be by?
We'll see, we'll get
Yeah,
those
and
numbers.
Karen always does that update report, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's.
You'll see
Even if it
those
wasn't-
scary figures.
Even if it wasn't water loss, you'd still see a scary number.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like I typically tell them at the pool when they ask me. I said, from the minute that Amy puts the key in the door in May, we start, not this Amy who runs the pool. We start losing money, and we don't quit losing money until she locks up in August. So, anyway.
I was
Thanks, Greg.
impressed with 2,300 income from concessions.
Oh yeah,
That's a lot of candy.
they're selling freezer pops and candy. Got that going
Well,
on.
maybe the pool starts selling beer to the,
That's not in there, that's hidden, that's under other. All right, Teresa, let's get your report so we can talk to these fine folks from Part D that are just
Can I
waiting
just
here.
throw one more thing out there, before we get to like the budget discussion of how much a pool is gonna be, can we get some information on grants or,
There typically is a pathway for pools right now.
so
Hasn't been
Google
for a
tells
few
me
years.
the Department of Agriculture funds small communities?
There is a GFMP grant out there for like park improvements or whatnot, but they're maxed out at about 300,000. So not a lot of money when you're looking at a $5 million pool probably, but I mean, there's little grants out there. And every bit helps, yeah, I mean, if we were gonna do something, we'd absolutely apply for it, but.
I'm gonna ask the mayor again to give me a list. She has a pretty good list of people that they use. So,
Yeah.
it's expensive. Cans end up at 7, did I hear right? 7 million, I think.
Yeah, theirs was really expensive,
Yeah.
yours came in expensive.
$7 million.
Miller is also looking at doing.
Keith
pool right
Matisse,
now.
Majority,
Memorial
Pool.
Memorial.
No, we don't want to.
He's literally in the room. And not in a box.
I owe him one. I owe him one. There, now we're even. Okay, let's go to Teresa's report.
Yeah, to try to make mine real brief. Justin gave you the project updates. I just wanted to let you know Western Avenue, just got an email today that we did receive the reloan funding. So that 400,000 will kind of help supplement that project. Plus the bonds, we're taking a $3 million, our big bond to go with that. We're gonna wait to see what the price comes in for the contractors to actually, before we issue those bonds, because if it comes in lower, we might not have to issue all of them. We talked about that earlier. So, I did talk with our bond council. They really feel interest rates either hold or go down a little bit, so I just didn't wanna hold on and have interest rates go higher. If they start to trend, anything like that, he says they'll let us know, because we can close on the bonds at any time. But for right now, we're just gonna hold off. Hopefully, they'll keep steady or go lower, and we'll hold off to see what actual cost is. So, update on that. The other, just a couple things, is I gave you an update on the Dakota Mainstem project. That's the pipeline. They're looking at bringing water from the river out this way, 20-year project. Just giving you a little heads up. Right now, Hartford, we're one of the communities that are on the board. There's several communities, plus rural water systems that are members on it. They are gonna start charging a membership, because they've gotta start raising money to be able to have plans engineered, submit applications, do funding. There's always cost sharing in that. So they figured it, they're gonna do a 3,000 flat fee and then 25 cents per person per service line, and those service lines number come from Danner. So basically, our fee is gonna be about $3,800. They'll prorate that this year, so we only pay a third of it, so like $1,200 this year, but then next year it will be $38. I'll throw that in the budget, but just to forewarn you, there'll be about a $1,200 fee
And we'll
if we
approve
want
that
to
when we
continue
get
being
that.
a member of that project.
You wanna approve that when we get the invoice?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll invoice us
Yeah.
for it, but I just wanna give you a heads up on it, so it's not a surprise to you. Me and the mayor did attend another regionalization meeting with the wastewater treatment facility yesterday. Like we said before, we come out of there with more questions than answers at this point, just because nobody really knows how to work this grant that we've gotten from the federal government, so. We are still working with CCOG and the other communities, Todd Meyer, Henry. We are gonna have to start looking at budgeting some, once again, money up front to help start paying attorney fees and engineering fees for all these, plans we need to submit going forward to get the grant, because they require engineer plans, proposals, this work plan.
I didn't think we could submit for it, I thought the other communities had.
Well,
So
that's still up in
that's
the air.
still, yeah, like I said, that's one of the questions, because they thought, well, maybe we can be a part of this entity, this, whatever we set up, this,
Yeah.
regionalization district or whatever, sewer district. They now say we probably can be part of that. And use our plant for kind of like the match of it, but there were still a couple more questions of how that's gonna work. So like I said, we got more questions once again than answers.
So the mayors are all meeting tomorrow. We do a monthly or bi-monthly meeting of all the mayors, and I'm going to talk with the mayor from Crooks and Colton about, hey, you guys are gonna have to start ponying up some money too. Cause they'll look at us like we're gonna pay for everything. Yeah.
Justin, is there anybody in your organization, is there any communities that ISG has been involved with that have done a regionalization or a sewer district or anything?
We're doing a lot of background research in a lot of research in the background, work in this project, a lot on the back end, or back end, front end, whatever you want to call it, trying to be proactive. There's a lot of nuances with it. We have a lot of research done, a lot of documents pulled together. With this one in particular, it's getting over some of the nuances on the matching funds and who's going to pony up approximately $6 million and how that's going to play. Once we get past that point, then it's going to be a little further ahead, but we're actively working on it.
I'm most curious about how it's managed. You know, who becomes the point person so that we don't have a Southeastern Avenue kind of a situation? Who do we go to? That's my question.
Well, we actually talked about that.
Yeah.
I said, who's gonna, if a pipe breaks between here and Crutch, whatever, who's gonna, who handles that?
Think of it like the rural water systems,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Minnehaha regional water system, right? They have a board, but they also got staff members, right? So.
Exactly.
So I
Lewis and
just
Clark.
picture that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's-
Using that model for this.
That's the model, you bet. Okay,
And I
cool.
think,
All right.
I wanna speak to that, Mayor, if that's
Okay, go ahead, fire away.
And I've had really good discussions with Justin on this, you already probably know what I'm gonna say, is like, if you look at Minnehaha County.
I didn't think we were supposed to reach out to these guys.
I was just
No.
gonna say, what's going on?
I didn't reach out to him directly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
This was at the wastewater treatment plant tour.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So just so we're clear.
Because he knows he's not supposed to reach out to them directly.
And I just wanna say in front of it, because I don't think anybody on this council wants to give up local control of our project. Because like if you look at the Minnehaha County Waste Regional, everybody on that board, not one person is on that board that actually lives in a city, like in the city limits of any of the cities that it services.
Right.
So you have all these people making decisions when they're, so I just want to put that on public I don't think anybody wants to lose control of our wastewater treatment facility and develop this board where we split up the ownership.
I would tell you, Sean, so you rest assured, I don't think any of the other people that sat at that table have any doubt that Hartford's gonna retain control.
Good.
The mayor's
I wanna keep
mentioned it
that
once.
Let's just put it that,
Twice.
as politely as I can say, it, I don't think any of them have any doubt that we're gonna retain control of the plant.
Yeah, you made mention of that, so.
Because we would probably walk away from this deal if that gets to that point.
It'd be nice if we make this happen, but it's not required.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We haven't leveraged anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've said it 100 times, it's the dog chasing the car. You caught the car. All right, IM-28.
Like I said, you want to touch on IM-28?
Yes, so if you're aware, IM-28 is the initiated measure that wants to repeal the state's 4.2 tax on groceries. The way it's written, there's some really language in there that could make this thing so wide-reaching that the estimates are like up to $123 to $179 million this could cost the state. How that affects Hartford directly is we can no longer then collect our 2% because the state is not collecting. It would cost us at a minimum 200 and, what did that sheet say, 290 or something? Yeah, it was about 5% of our budget, and that's on the low,
I think that's on the low end, yeah.
That's on the low end. So I would like the council at least to be aware, we have reached out to Nathan Sanderson, who is head of the South Dakota Retailers Association, who is driving the vote no on IM-28, and we've asked him to come speak at the council next meeting. And I think we're gonna invite HADF, and we're gonna invite other people that they'd like to
I gotta
come
believe the municipal league is
I
probably.
was gonna say, the municipal
on
league
this too. They've
is,
been sending
they're
us
against
stuff.
this as well, cause the language
Yes.
is so bad that it's really gonna lose a lot of revenue for
Well,
all the
hold
cities.
up here, I'm gonna, so I know Teresa and I had this
We're gonna change our name. No,
that, well,
no, I just said, go ahead.
yeah, it's an initiated measure.
Yeah.
And so legislator has the ability to dictate what they want to include in that. I mean, that's South Dakota codified law. And I think it would be fair if we're gonna have somebody come in, you know, we wanna stay as bipartisan as possible, in my opinion, on things like
Yes.
this. And so I think it's awesome to have Nathan Sanderson come and to give, you know, to give a robust explanation for why vote no. But I think it would be a good balance to have somebody, and I could probably find somebody in the legislature or some, you know, some, whether it's official or somebody that is in favor of this other than Rick Wyland. I think it would be fair to see both sides of the argument, because if we're gonna bring somebody in to
Right.
come and talk to the groups, that's awesome. But I would love to bring in an opposing viewpoint to paint a more robust picture. So, I would like to, yeah, I mean, I'm not,
So why are we bringing them in?
I would just like to have him come in and lay out how this will affect the cities from a funding standpoint. Because I think right before we're talking about budget, it'd be nice to know if there's a possibility that we're gonna lose this money. That's my opinion.
I just don't want 40 minutes listening
Nope.
to pros and cons of IM.
Right.
I'd rather see it in a community. I would rather see it in a setting, and once again, I would rather see it in like, you know, like when there's open houses or like if the community wants to come versus like an official city council.
Should we
I mean,
look at that rather than?
And Mayor, I'm
No,
not
that's
trying,
fine.
I'm just, you know,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just,
Harry. I'm just,
because I'll absolutely be there, because I really do
Right.
want to see both sides of this, and maybe, yeah, anyways, I'll shut up.
I think let's ask that question, Teresa. Okay?
I don't disagree that some type of impact analysis for us is important.
Right.
I just don't know that I wanna
Listen.
have a debate.
analysis.
Wow.
There's the phrase of the day. I like it. Impact analysis.
Write that down.
Yeah, I agree with that down.
She's twice as professional as there is.
$5 right there.
There we go.
So do you still want,
There we go. Moving on. All right.
yeah, we can have more
Let's
discussion
talk about
later.
that.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Before we go any farther, I think I
Yeah.
got the flavor of the council.
Well, Mayor, I do appreciate you
No,
being proactive, and I really
Hey.
do, and
I'm for
100%
a good
agree.
5 minutes apiece.
Yeah,
But that's
set
about
the
it.
timer on. During public input.
Okay, we'll talk about it. All right? Yes. I was planning on that. Gee whiz, you want to take over? or what?
I can just see
You
my,
are, is he?
I
No,
just see my,
Cindy is.
I can just see my daughter getting hangry over there.
Are you changing?
Hey, we're gonna make safe runs for you over there.
Yeah.
I've got another 1 minute past her bedtime.
Okay, we're gonna flip these two when we get to old business. Let's first talk about discuss safety concerns at the intersection of Vandemark Avenue and Barkey Drive. This is a topic that Councilman Horn brought, and we've had some of the citizens here tonight, and were here before. And we wanted to discuss it and maybe get to a resolution. How's that sound?
Councilman Horn, there's a staff recommendation here. Can you give your comments on that?
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, if the argument is that stop signs are gonna work, I don't know if painting crosswalks without a stop sign is gonna work. I understand the visual cue of it. I looked through the data and Teresa put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and this afternoon I was doing YouTube videos on formulas and all this. My wife can attest, I was getting pretty aggravated and.
You're not a freak in the sheets?
No, Mark Brennan.
The spreadsheets.
Yeah.
The spreadsheets.
Yeah. I did get Mark Brennan a freak in the sheets, somewhat, so, with Excel and background. So I did all that, And then I emailed it to myself to bring it up, and now I can't download the dang thing, so.
Too much data.
So I'm going off some menu, or some memory rather. Just looking at it, there was 99 line items on there that did not recognize something that went through, or, you know, probably an
You'll
error.
get,
or
you'll
something.
get those, yeah.
Yeah, error of some sort.
It comes up when you pull the report, it'll come up that it figures into how many that missed or whatever,
Yeah,
and does a percentage analysis on it, and if it's like 90-some%, it considers it a good, accurate.
99
Yeah.
a total of, what was it, 2,300 that went through there over those 23 days. Yeah, I think we're well above that, so. The other part is, you know, there was 372 that were less than 15 miles per hour. So those are the ones that are, you know, turning, going into a driveway, coming out of a driveway, you know, maybe possibly turning into Parts E. The ones that kind of concerned me was, you know, 30 miles per hour or more. I don't remember the exact number it was in the 23 days, but it was basically 7 a day, which would equate to around 2,800, maybe a little bit more than that a year. So I was a little concerned with that because it's 2,800 chances at that intersection that somebody could get hit.
Were you able to break that down by time of day or?
I was. I had a formula that was
Okay.
8 miles long.
It says it
and,
on that sheet for time of day.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
of those
exactly.
2,800, like,
Yeah.
AM,
200 of them were from 6 to 7, you know.
Yep.
where
It
they-
actually, it's on that form that we put together, it actually says the exact time, whether it was 10:52,
Yes,
10:50.
yes, right,
Yeah.
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 But to consolidate that and say X number of them,
And then there was 8 total going 40 miles per hour or more, which amounts to about 125 a year. And then, you know, if you're hopefully not walking your dog at Tuesday at 9:14, because there's a guy going 83 miles per hour, and that would be 15 times. Tuesday, July 23rd at 9:14 a.m. That's outrageous. That's scary. So that was just kind of what I looked at it, you know, I took the 23 days times 15.7, which should give you, you know, roughly 365 days, you know, so, yeah, so I don't know.
Did you talk to Deputy?
I did, yeah, we did. We had a good conversation this afternoon. It took me like a year to call him back, but we got to know each other, so, yeah, I don't know if he wants to.
Yeah, you wanna-
or- Yeah, so,
Yeah, I have similar numbers, I guess, from a law enforcement perspective. Going 10 over does maybe seem bad or whatever, but my understanding of Vandermark, it's really easy to go 30 and you don't even know it. And folks aren't, I think that neighborhood, folks aren't intentionally going 30 miles an hour just to break the law or whatever, just because it's pretty easy to do it. Colton Road, for example, is really hard to go 65 and 55 because it's just really long and wide road and a lot of open space. Does that excuse speed? No, it doesn't. I think in the grand scheme of things in the city of Hartford, of that, the count that we have here, it's pretty minimal if you compare it to Colton Road in town or Highway 38 or Western Avenue or Mickelson. I think we're probably, Vanmark, probably a little bit on the lower end of it for speed enforcement. Obviously, during these times here that from the counter that we have, we can obviously be in those times and stuff that's been passed on to deputies to be in those areas during those times for the volume time and for peak speed times is what we're typically to do extra enforcement there. So I've been sitting there since those counters went up whenever I have time, and honestly, I've seen people going 7 miles an hour over. I haven't seen anyone going faster than that.
thank you guys for the data on that. I know, I've seen you up there patrolling. I know I've had my complaints, as you know, on my road, and you've done a great job on that. I always kind of go back to the first meeting on this. You have 10 people, or 10 or 12, however big the group was, of seriously concerned parents. And there's a lot of other factors, and I don't want to get too far into weeds, but you've got a drop-off school zone, or you got a drop-off, a bus drop-off. Is that bus drop-off right on Vandemark? So they stop on Vandemark and then the kids go?
They have to go on, they go on Part T. They go on
The
the
kids have to
Part
walk
T and then they walk
on the
over.
Part T. They do not get picked up anywhere on that side.
Okay,
They
and,
have to go to Part T.
yeah, and so there's a lot of movement, a lot of growth. And, you know, I would be curious, the people that live over there, the people that see this stuff when the cops aren't there, that when the traffic counters, because, you know, I don't know what you guys do, when I see a cop, I slow down. And you guys stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, that's the reality, when I see a cop, I slow down, that's nature. Just
You
like,
must be a habitual speeder then.
Yeah.
it's Damien, it's only pulled me over once. And it wasn't for speeding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, well, I went through a road close, I went through a road close thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I called Teresa too, as you said, I'm like, hey,
You're that guy, that's right.
I'm that guy, I'm that dummy. I am curious though, because some of you guys are here, Keith, and I'm sure this is why you're here too, maybe, because you used to live up there. Just out of curiosity, like if you guys were sitting up here, and you guys kind of see the structure and order of how things go, and what would you guys do if you were in our spot?
I guess my question is, what's the opposed to not putting a stop sign there?
Well, I want to ask you the question, and no one's up right now has been in opposition to that right now, but that might be coming down the pipeline. But I'm just curious, if you were me, sitting up here, knowing everything you know, what would you do?
Well, the biggest thing that I look at is I have 2 small kids. We are the last house, so we don't have a sidewalk yet by our house. So our kids do have to cross Vandemark to go anywhere to get to a sidewalk. So they're constantly crossing that road. And we're the last one that got built out there. And there's a lot of people that fly past our road. And I work from home, so I see my office faces the front. So I would put in a stop sign.
You put in a stop sign where specifically?
See, and that's what I questioned. Do you put it at Part T, because there is a lot of cross traffic between Part T and then Vandemark. I feel like there is a lot of cross traffic there. Or down at the ground floor where the trailer park runs and then Vandemark. I would say one of those 2 spots to slow people down as they come.
We had one there. That hasn't been gone too long, right?
I mean, if you look at the data, speed isn't the concern, really, relatively speaking. This is much lower than I anticipated.
Right.
But I feel like it's much lower based off of the placement of those 2 roadways.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't fully understand it, I'm sure there's a science behind it, but you have 4 driveways. 4 driveways. And
Right after
you're
the.
constantly, like, how fast are you going when you're coming in or out of your driveway, you know? The placement of them, I guess, just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I would have maybe done it more toward, like, the Bushland side or more towards the Vandemark piece.
Really what it comes down to is safety.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, my golf cart goes 20 mile an hour downhill. So to cross those things, you're going 15. Craig, I appreciate the work you do. You know, if you move it 200 yards to the south before all those houses, you're going to catch faster vehicles. Deputy, you guys are cut thin. You look at the data, these are the time of day when the people are speeding. It's also maybe the school's open. So we get give them a break for that. But ultimately, it comes down to safety. And I think it makes sense to put it at Part T and Vandemark. And if you put them up, they don't work, we take them down.
What's the definition of work?
Exactly. I mean, I think they do work. But otherwise, we wouldn't have a 3-way stop at the swimming pool. Why do we have a 4-way stop down at Wall Lake Corner?
Yeah.
somebody was killed.
Yeah, like 3 times, yep.
But I'm saying that somebody is going 83 miles an hour in town, like, that is fast. Like, no
But
matter
it's also
who.
rare. I mean,
It
that's
could be a deputy going to a call.
Well, it'll tell us which.
I'm just saying, I've flown through Vandemark.
July 23rd, I
Seen
think.
someone
Oh.
die.
Right, right.
14.
But
It's like-
also,
That would be
Yeah,
justified.
everybody's.
That's what I think is that what that is,
Yeah.
probably a deputy.
Yeah.
is there any direction, do we know the direction
It
on
was
that
headed
based
south.
on?
It was headed, yeah.
Into
It was
town.
coming in,
It was
coming into
town.
town, it said it's going to town.
That is a, it's getting to be more common entry and exit into and out of.
Well, it's only getting.
So-
Everything growth is gonna get.
I lived one house off of Mickelson on Fider, and that had stop signs on Mickelson and Fider, and people ran them terribly. And so there is, like that, the Vandemark to me is gonna be a very busy through road. And so that's part of my concern is we did go through town and look at traffic patterns and what were through roads and what aren't, and we took them out. And so we can put them in, I don't think it's gonna, people are gonna blow through them.
You're gonna blow through them, but the chances, I think, of people blowing through them is you're probably gonna have less people, you're gonna have more people stop or roll through them, and the chances of somebody getting killed from somebody rolling is a lot less than somebody flying through at 50 mile an hour or 80 mile an hour.
People also count on people to stop.
Yeah.
I also think that a big red stop sign is a very nice visual indicator that there could be something to watch for at this place, right?
1,000%.
Right.
And so I think just,
Do run it, yeah.
you know, yeah, people are gonna run it probably, yes, people run all stop signs. But if you have a stop sign there, it's going to be an additional, you know, message in your brain to say, hey, I need to pay attention right now, right?
But to devil's advocate, I mean, if you're going 83 miles an hour, you're gonna run a stop sign.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of a one-off.
People run the one on Main Street.
Right.
And that's the thing, I mean,
All the time.
how far do you drag, I mean, probably statistically speaking, a lot more people are gonna stop or slow down than run. Otherwise, Damien would have, I pulled over 50 people for running stop signs all day. You know, like we would see that in like a report, probably its own line item if it was like this continuous thing. So the reality is, you know, the speed limit going through town on 38 is 35. And, you know, people are gonna go faster than that, and some people are gonna go slower. You know, but stop signs do stop. And so, like, I know, I got a lot of data, you know, I know what I think would be a good starting point there. We've had a lot of discussion about this. Where Vandemark, okay, so you got Vandemark that runs north and south, and you have Partee runs east and west, right? So Partee runs into Knapp's Landing. That's still, is that still considered Partee?
It is.
Yes.
Do you guys think that it would be, and like I said, this may or may not be the absolute best thing to do. Do you guys think that putting a four-way stop there, would that be better than what is there now with crosswalks? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
You want a four-way stop
It's not even
with
sidewalks.
crosswalks.
Yeah.
And part 2 of Vandemark, you're saying.
yep, running east and west, so, and that's where, you know, so if you had a crosswalk, so those kids, I mean, and we'll talk about the kids, right?
Yeah.
When they get off that bus, because they pull east into Partee, they pull them east, and then they walk across there. And most kids are probably gonna walk on the south side, I'm guessing, or wait, is the sidewalk in Naps, is that on the north, it's on the north side, because that's where
Right
your
now, it's on
development's
the
at.
other
Yes, 'cause there's no.
Yeah,
But either way.
way.
Where there's no sidewalks.
Has anyone talked to Rick, the bus coordinator for West Central? Do we know what the plan is once 12th Street is finished?
I do not.
That's a good
I'll
question.
talk to him soon.
I think, are there other tactics for slowing traffic down coming into town off of a country road?
You'd probably throw tax strips down.
So,
That would do it.
Just our presence.
so here's the other
Best thing to do.
No flashing, slow
Oh.
signs,
Your
no.
presence is the best gift
Yeah.
by a long
Oh,
shot.
I agree with that.
What about speed bump?
There are some.
Speed bump. Craig loves those.
Greg, you like speed bumps, don't you? Great big tall ones.
So that's my point too, is, you know, when we say running a stop sign or blowing a stop sign, there's rolling through the stop sign, which is probably 95% of people going through a stop sign.
Still illegal.
That don't stop, you know what I mean?
Still illegal.
Yep, still illegal, absolutely, right? But 5%, a very small slivers, are the ones that are blowing it, going 30, 40, 50 miles per hour. And that reduces the amount of people that could be hit at that intersection. Now, the other part is, you said the speed doesn't really matter to you. I would agree on a different kind of mentality, just because the speed doesn't matter to me either. It's the pedestrians at that intersection that matter, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and not to put you on blast here 2 times in a row, but you said the other day, you know, when we were chatting, you don't put a stop sign up there just for the heck of it. You put it up there so that people will stop, right?
Yep.
To me, my mentality is you put it up there for safety. That's the number one priority, you know? And that's the way I look at it, I guess. And you know, Cindy, you saying it's gonna be busy up there going forward, that to me, if we've already got a problem, that to me is even more of a reason that we need to do something, you know?
No, I witnessed firsthand Mickelson going from a gravel road. I lived there from the time it was a gravel road to what it is now. And when I say blow, I mean blow. Like, people will come through that road at 50, 60, those higher speeds. I mean, I guess I'm interested in like, what is effective? And I still feel like we've never really answered that question.
I don't know if we're gonna know until we do something. I think sometimes you kinda gotta.
There's nobody who says roads that have this much traffic, it's a good idea to put a stop sign or it's not.
But the thing is, it's not just, and that's a really good question, it's not just the traffic, it's what's going on outside of the traffic, which, you know what I mean? So like, when you do a road counter, which is a good thing, but it doesn't, get all of the information, and it doesn't, you know, and I think you were gone in that meeting when it was almost, not quite a full house, but it doesn't get the data from the people that live there and what they actually are seeing on a day-to-day.
I agree.
You know, and so it doesn't take all of that into consideration.
And
Yeah.
Sean, if you're saying I don't care about the
Oh,
safety,
no, I
you're
know
wrong.
you do. No, I know you do.
But B,
Yeah.
if we start putting stop sign in everywhere people say there's traffic, we've got a problem. I mean, we've been saying no to Main Street for the 3 years I've been here.
I've been saying yes to Main Street.
I would also tell you.
I've been saying yes.
I think what makes this one unique is the entry and exit of Hartford.
And the 2 neighborhoods.
And is it true that the bike path is gonna run up through there too?
You know more than I do
The
about
problem is that
that.
it's not 2 neighborhoods. That's the thing that we need to get out of our mind. That is one neighborhood up there.
And it's
Those party kids are
Yes.
going over to
Yes.
the, I know, I have friends who have 7-year-old boys
Yeah.
who are back and forth
And
all
in their
day.
mind, they are
So
all
it's
neighbors.
one, it's a neighborhood. I know it's an outlet of town, but it's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And this goes through a neighborhood.
Yep.
If it was 38 doesn't go through a neighborhood, right?
So
Whatever.
one-
Western doesn't go through a neighborhood. There's nothing on the other side to go to.
Right, I
Right.
just wanna share yesterday, like a story, like I was walking my dogs and I work from home, so I sit there, I walk this road all the time. Number one, I think that like the deputies are typically there in non-high traffic times, right? So it's like during the day when there's not a lot of people coming in and out of that road. But I was walking my dogs, some little boys from the neighborhood going from Partee to Knapp's Landing, 2 of them. And, you know, I said hi to them. And the little guy goes, don't forget to stop the stop sign and look for cars. And he goes, okay, no problem. Blows right through it. And his mom's coming this way and she's like, did you stop? And he goes, nobody looked for cars, but someone coming at 80 mile an hour. He wouldn't have stood a chance, he's 5 years old. You know, so I'm like, I think that's what the traffic counters are never gonna show, is that.
Yeah, a question for Craig. What's the downside of putting 2 more from the city perspective? I mean, snowplows are,
No, so to me,
They
I
don't
told
stop
you,
the stop sign.
I told them all before.
they shouldn't, yeah.
I say I'm not a stop sign person because it's gonna give self hope for people with kids and that stuff, they're gonna think the cars are gonna stop. And you're gonna get the rolling cars, I mean, you put a stop sign up, I hope Damien stops everybody that rolls through it too, because that is illegal, it's that they're put up to stop traffic, not to slow traffic down. And it's misleading that way, and I do think that if you put them up there, it's gonna snowball effect, because we've had a lot of stop signs that people have requested throughout town by daycares and things like that, that I think you're gonna have a lot of stop signs in town.
Ryan, what was the summary, what was our total count?
There again, though, Craig, just to rebuttal on that, it's the entry exit, you know, makes it a little bit unique.
It makes it very unique.
What was the total count, for that period?
The 23 days, the total, I think it was like 2391 or 2395.
2297.
There you go, what was it?
2297.
Divided by, that was 23 days?
Yep.
100 cars.
That's 100 cars a day, and last time we had a traffic count up there was in 2022, and we had 125 cars a day. So the argument that there's more traffic, it's being more used, doesn't hold water when you look at the numbers.
I don't think that that's the argument. I think the argument is that there's a safety concern that needs to be addressed.
And I think during the school year, the traffic is increased significantly on that road, and you actually do see more high school kids that are speeding down that road.
This was a similar period, it was from May 24th until June 22nd.
Naps Landing was just developed though, right? In
Yeah,
22?
Bates has finished their home in 21.
And they were the first one.
How much does a stop sign cost?
Oh, trying to get that, the pole, the tail star, the anchor, stop sign, you're probably about $250 to $300. So nothing terrible. I mean,
I would like to,
but I'll do whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, I would like to-
Put a stop sign there, we'll certainly put it up.
I would like to make a motion, I'm gonna preface it with this, is that I think we have to do something. So I'd like to make a motion to, and if it doesn't work, then we can take them out, remove them, and put them somewhere else in some of our other developments. I'd like to make a motion to put a four-way stop at Vandemark and Partee with crosswalks, with a crosswalk on the north side of, so those kids
What's a
can.
crosswalk? What are you talking
Just painted.
The
I
painted
know
lines.
what I think a crosswalk is,
Yeah.
but what are you saying?
Like painted,
Painting the road.
so, I would like to make a motion to put a four-way stop there with a crosswalk on the north side, I guess on the north, would be the north side of Vandemark, so it can connect those sidewalks to kids from Partee.
I think you can, not to interrupt.
Yeah,
I think you can do it on both.
On both
the
sides.
crosswalk.
because there's eventually gonna be a sidewalk when that develops,
So
so.
there is a little path there on the south side too, right?
So I'd like to make a motion to put a four-way stop there with a crosswalk going east and west on both sides. On the north side and on the south side.
Okay. Second? Does somebody want a second?
Are you second?
No, hell no.
You can't second. You can't second unless like two of us leave.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion on this motion.
Well, is there an option to just do a two-way stop sign instead of a four-way?
We already got two in there. Partee's already
Partee's got
there.
that.
Partee's got
So
it.
like really, we're just adding stuff.
Yes.
So basically.
We're changing it from a two-way
An
to a
all-way is what they call it.
all-way. We're changing it to an all-way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think better is a roundabout.
Yeah, let's do
That's what
that.
I said. Let's go around.
What's the price on the roundabout?
You know what? I did have one of those really.
Okay, any more discussion on the motion on the
So my
floor?
question is, if they're coming into town from the south, when are they gonna see the stop sign?
They're not coming to town.
From the north.
From the north,
Well,
they're
I know
getting
it's
south.
We'll have to head sign? We'll have to put a sign down that says stop ahead.
Yeah.
And we'll flag it and everything else.
You usually do flags when the new.
Yeah.
Well, that part of the road's higher up, so you're gonna see that side, the people coming up to go that part.
There'll be a stop ahead, I would
Yeah,
assume,
right, that's
for the
it.
northbound traffic as well.
We'll have to put them up there from both of them, and then they'll get flagged and.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All right, we'll vote. Mattson,
Yes.
Bowen,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Keel,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Jazz.
Yes.
I didn't have to vote.
Thank you, thank you.
I will share with you, I wanted to see how this went. I happened to have lunch with Sebernings today, so I asked them what they thought. What do you think they thought? Yes, they do.
I do that. Yeah.
So,
I would also like to.
I was keeping that in my back pocket, just,
I would like to request that the city keep the traffic counters in there as well.
They're not there right now, but I'll put it back. I mean,
Yeah.
tubes are there,
You're
but
saying after the fact?
Oh, the box, I was saying, I just noticed the two.
Yeah,
I
two
just
boxes.
wonder if after the stop.
should we
sign
move,
is all.
should we move them, Craig? Would that make a difference?
I would like for like information.
Yeah.
Oh, leave them where they were.
I agree with
Then we can move them.
I agree
Yeah.
with that, but should we wait until people get used to
No.
that?
No.
You're not in, okay.
A stop sign's a stop sign.
Right,
Whether I'm
but
used to it or not, as someone who's supposed to be driving 20 miles an hour,
it'll
I should be able to stop.
It'll be warned, it'll have flags hanging on them.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Cindy, I'm gonna ask you, Cindy, because I live on Nicholson also. When that stop sign was there and then came out, did you notice any change in how people drove?
No.
Okay.
I'd say what is nice.
I literally watch people constantly run it.
Yeah, I'm with you, I was there too. What is nice is now when they fly by, you don't hear, they're bottoming out on the washboards, because it's not gravel anymore. So that's a huge plus.
I just worry that
Much
because
quieter.
there's a four-way stop,
We
people
will
venture
chat
out.
with we chat with the kids, we'll chat with them more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're not gonna slow down.
And I have a hard time counting cars now too, because there's not a huge cloud of dust. So we've made huge strides up there. And
Well, thank you guys for your input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Craig, they'll be done by tomorrow at 5-ish?
I thought you were gonna say, are you gonna come home with us?
We'll get to it right after.
Why don't we go for it? Hey, you're this far, go all the way.
Yeah.
Craig, can you go put them up tonight?
No, as far as the traffic counters go, if you've got them somewhere doing a study,
I don't.
leave them there.
Tubes are there,
Oh,
so we'll.
okay.
Well, we move them around town every year anyway. We do that in class.
All right.
I'm also on that note, I would be interested to see them at another four-way stop and see the similar results there too. Just like if we got one by the school or whatever, I
I
would
think
also.
to your point, it's unique.
It is.
And I don't think it's gonna be the same as.
I would agree with
No,
that.
it's
I
gonna be
would
worse.
agree with that. There's another place where there's.
No, definitely not, it wouldn't be.
That's similar.
Yeah.
I will say the comment was made at our last meeting that there's no stretch of road longer that doesn't have a four-way stop.
And that's not true.
That's not true. Oaks is longer.
Nicholson,
Without
way
stop
longer.
Maine is longer.
I don't think.
You're
that's-
saying, but the comment was without a stop sign.
Without a stop sign.
When Oaks,
In a residential neighborhood.
yeah,
Oaks is
Parker's pretty
longer
long.
than 9th, 38 to the edge
Oaks
of
have
town.
got a bunch of stop signs.
Oaks has a stop sign
No.
on Second.
that's second.
So 38
Second
to
versus
Second.
38.
Second.
Yeah.
First,
That
second.
stretch from Second to 38 is longer than 38 to the city limits.
To city limits, yes, but not to
I guess not to Colton Road.
Renner Road or whatever it is, yeah.
Control soil
Yeah,
road.
yeah.
We can't control, yeah.
No, and I agree,
Just
yeah,
our
that's
control.
cool, yeah, yeah.
Our control zone.
Yep.
All right, let's move back up to review the invoice submitted by Hartford Township.
Get her some food.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you again.
What? Dad. All right, Craig, do you want to give us a little update on your meeting last night?
Well, it was 45 minutes of my life I'll never get back. And
Feels
we
like
talked-
tonight.
I'll talk about that tomorrow. So we talked about everything from sewer charges, the water charges, the shuffling funds, they didn't have a clue what they were talking about as far as what's going on for city government. And I tried to explain to them, that the fees for their maintenance fees were for, that's what they wanted them to take it off their property. And I explained to them that the fees are there to pay for roads in Hartford. Everybody drives roads in Hartford, even people that live on the country. I also told them that their chunk out in front of their building is gonna get chip sealed or slurry sealed next year, which is gonna be $60,000 or whatever it's gonna come out to be. Came down to it, they wanted us to pay the bill. I tried to get them to make a motion contingent that they let us, that we would, let us bore contingent, we paid that $1,800. One of them was really against even talking about any of this stuff because of the maintenance fees that are on the road in front of them. The other two were willing to do something, but they wanted us to pay first, and then they'd think about letting us cut the street. They were wondering why I was there and there was no council members or mayor there to speak on behalf of the city as far as representatives. And I said, the reason why I'm here is because I didn't think it was gonna be that big of a deal. We're maintaining the road, we're fixing the road, we're mag watering it, or whatever we need to do to keep our road up. So if we dig through it, it's just like digging through one of our roads. But when it all came down to it, it got that, you guys see the motion that they made. They basically said that they would, if we paid the gravel bill, that they would consider letting us dig through that road, so that's where it got done.
So they're worried about number one, they're worried about the assessment, the street
They're
assessment.
upset about the $2 maintenance fees.
And how much was that again? $600 a year.
It's every property, it's in ordinance, every property in city limits pays that. 'Cause like I said, it goes to our street maintenance fund to help with make water or slurry seal, all that. We even assess the city property.
See you, Deputy.
Churches pay it, school pays it, I mean, we made a motion, everybody pays it.
Right.
So we can't really pick and choose without changing our ordinance, withdrawing it to who gets it, who doesn't get it.
So, the other part of that, I guess, I'm not familiar with their like budget or, I mean, is $600 like a lot?
I think they get around 100 and some thousand a year. I'm not exactly sure what the numbers are.
Okay.
They get so much from each.
But they have to.
Get some from the county, they get.
Yep.
The other possible opportunity, and I'm kind of staring at the lawyer over there. The same, is the township looking for us to pay them to pay that bill? Or are they looking for us to pay the gravel supplier?
I think they've already paid it, they're billing us. So
Okay.
basically, we're reimbursing the township.
Okay, because I just noticed that the gravel supplier is also the same one on the 6th and Month. We could maybe use that as a negotiation, but I don't think that's important, so.
I'm maybe gonna answer your question, Craig. They're wondering why nobody from the mayor or the city council shows up. Because I hate to tell you this, if I showed up and that's the way they were going, I would probably ask you what's gonna cost us to just cut our agreement with them and do our own stuff and they do their own stuff. Because we've spent a lot of time talking about this and I think we've been more than fair. And I'm just about to the point that this thing's gonna, I'm actually looking forward to them coming to the next meeting because I have a feeling we're gonna get resolution.
So let me wrap my head around. Nathan Gary made a motion for the city to pay the gravel bill, 1/8 of it, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, what they invoiced us,
Yeah.
which is about 20 for the total, yep.
And supervisors, I don't understand who the supervisors.
They're
are.
supervisors, they're county supervisors.
It's the board.
The township board.
There's 3 of them
Yep.
that'll be coming, that will attend our August 20th meeting.
You might get two, I don't know if that third one will come.
Okay. And the council meeting to discuss the road, all in favor. Well, I mean, wouldn't this agreement be defunct if all supervisors don't show up? Because it doesn't say 2/3 of them. I mean, if we're gonna get hung up on semantics, right? I mean, where does it end?
Well, it's not about the money. It's
could
just
be.
about the cooperation and,
For them, it's
you know,
about
for
that.
us to support, for us to pay their fee, but then they're perfectly okay with making us bore instead of cut. So when I say it's not about the money, then why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Because it's not about the money. It's like some gate, which I think is just really inappropriate for two government entities to play over a few $1,000s worth of gravel.
Was it brought up that, that they just sent us the bill instead of, maybe talking to us beforehand?
Right. There was no ask, they just did it and sent us a bill.
I mean, I guess where I'm going with that, I'm sorry, Teresa, is if we would've done that to them, it probably.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have went over.
Probably would've went over as well as it's going over right now.
It got brought up about, they asked me why the city was against paying this. I said, that's not the way the city does business. I said, typically, we agree on a bill before, or work being done before we do it. I mean, we don't let people just go do stuff and then we just pay them,
We've had contractors try that.
Yeah.
They incur charges, they come to City Hall. South Main Edition is a great example. It doesn't go well.
No.
We've had citizens.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, typically, and like the county, we've got a pretty good working relationship with them, like what's coming up on the agenda. They'll let us know ahead of time if they're gonna do a project, ask for us to contribute if they want us to contribute. We decide yes or no, and then it gets slated for a project. It's not on the backside like this is happening here. It's everybody agrees, this is what you're gonna pay, this is what we're gonna pay, and then we move ahead. Where they just did the project and now want us to reimburse.
But here's the thing, when we had that conversation at our last meeting, so it sounds like if we pay the bill, which is not that big of a deal, because we can save a lot of money if we can cut through that road, right? What, I mean, a project cost savings, is it like 100,000, is it 50? I mean, it's significant, right? And so the way I read this, Nathan Daring made a motion for the city, to pay the gravel bill, and supervisors will attend the, okay. So it sounds, to discuss the road being,
Not
to
approving.
discuss, yeah.
And not approving.
Us paying the bill doesn't get us anything.
Yeah.
Right,
It
and
gets
that's
them
what we're kind of talking about, so I would,
That's a discussion.
yeah, I
Maybe
mean, we'll
it's-
pay the bill if we can cut through that road, that's a simple.
Maybe it's just a simple fact of, we take no action tonight, just talk with them on the 20th when they come and say, well then let's do an agreement. And actually have an agreement drafted, and say, we'll pay this if you let us cut the road.
Yeah, I'm ready to make a motion if anybody else is, unless there's more discussion prior to that.
Go for it.
I'll make a motion to table this to the next meeting.
Second.
No discussion on the table, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Jazz? Yes. Thank you.
I do have a question about when township meetings are held. Where do I find that information? Can that information be shared with us?
Same meeting, same night as council meetings,
Sure.
Oh,
same time, same.
So they're not having a meeting to come here?
first and third?
I think they're both, or are they just the first?
Uh,
I think it might be just the first meeting.
Karen, can you put that on your calendar of events for us, please?
I'll add that.
Moving forward?
Yep, sure.
And then where would we find their agenda?
The last time at the meeting, she forgot it at home and it was on a piece of scratch.
There you
I don't know if
go.
it's
Okay.
published.
They're not, yeah, they're not held
So-
really to the same standard as us.
All right. So I'm just, I wanna make sure I'm not ignorant, like I haven't been missing this huge stop sign that says there's a township meeting.
Stop sign.
Did I work that?
Yeah, that was a nice reference.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just making gravy over there.
Oh, yeah.
Third.
All right, next up on the old business, we need to approve the rescheduling of the budget meeting to Monday, August 26th at 6 o'clock. Somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second. I'll look at my calendar, man.
I got a lot of seconds tonight, I was letting somebody else get in there.
Second, somebody got it? Any discussion? This is one for the record, you better keep this date. Jazz?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen? Oh, I thought he was gonna say no.
I
That's
was
it.
that.
That's it.
I'm a yes.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Monday to
Let's move on to new business. We got some great exciting stuff under new business we want to talk about. First up is the 2025 county chip seal proposal. We've talked about this a little bit. They are going to chip seal Western. As you know, the parts where we own on both sides is about 30.8% of that road. And last summer, they repaved the whole thing in an emergency and didn't charge us anything. They're scheduling the chip seal for 2025, and they're asking the city to pay for that expense.
Yes.
How's that? I tell you what,
Yes,
I
good synopsis.
meticulously read my packet.
And that expense will not find its way to the township other than their yearly street maintenance, is that correct?
Right, township ain't paying any of
See what
this.
you did there?
I'm trying to just be politically correct.
I know.
I'd make a motion.
You gotta try a little harder.
I'd make a motion to approve the 2025 county chip sealing proposal.
Second. Any discussion? Yeah, I know, he's gonna yell from the waterfront. Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Oh, Barons?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have a couple, we have a pay request number 2 for Alliance Construction. This is on the North Oaks Industrial Park. Is that what we call that?
It's 12th and Oak Street, 'cause that's our
12th
project.
and Oak Street project, never
It's
sorry.
not, it's not the grading, it's our street project.
Okay, so, I'm sorry to beat this dead horse. Why was Alliance down at northeast or eastern where that
They're
park?
doing that project over there, they're a subcontractor.
Oh, they're doing that as well?
Yeah, they're a
Okay.
subcontractor, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. I follow now. I was thinking that was connected to
Motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, next up, we have a couple billboard leases. First one is east face of billboard number 4, south half for Buffalo Ridge. They have been advised of the new pricing and have agreed to such.
Motion to approve the lease for the east face of billboard number 4, south half, as presented.
Second.
2 seconds, any discussion on this one?
3-year contract, right?
3-year contract, and it went from 130 to 150.
Just an FYI, Lamar charges $7.25
Yeah, we went through those.
Oh.
Yeah, we knew we were
okay.
significantly
We're
cheaper.
cheap,
We
so
were
that's
cheaper.
150 for half, so that's 300, so we're about half the price. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mattson?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Jazz?
Yes.
The next one is the east face billboard number 4, the north half, which is good pizza
Motion
ranch.
to approve the east face of billboard number 4, north half, Pizza Ranch, as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Yeah, you want to give a second.
I got some tough competition on here.
Hearing none, we'll vote. Jazz?
Yes.
Barons?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Bowen?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
All right, next up, pre-budget city tour update. Teresa, you want to give it? You want me to give it?
Okay.
Anybody who was on
You can
the
give it, I
tour
just,
want to
there
give
was,
it?
you know, a couple members that couldn't be present, so I just kinda wanna give an update of where we all went and what we talked about.
Yeah,
If you have any questions.
it's in your packet, the copy of the notes. I thought it was really good. I got to ride around with Cindy.
Can't lose them, so
She
that's
better.
good.
Huh?
What could be better?
What could be better? I thought it was very helpful. I don't know that it's something we'll do every year, but it's occasionally wouldn't be bad to get everybody out and drive around.
I think it's something that we should do at least once a year.
Yeah.
I think there's, I think, you go drive by or look at things, but I think it's good to have some conversation and some other thoughts while you're standing there looking at property. I thought it was helpful, I thought it was interesting, some of us had the exact same thoughts.
Yeah.
at the same time, says, you know, with the discussions, and so I think it's a good practice.
I think it's good with all three of the boards too. 'cause
Oh, yeah.
then you have that, like I said, interdiscussion between the boards, so that's.
I think for some people it was very, like, they had no idea.
Yeah.
So,
I think we could even extend that invitation to downtown Hartford.
Yeah.
We had Amy there representing the HADF, which was helpful, but I think.
We could have the HADF board, really, we could really have that be a kind of a nice group. Maybe we could turn it into a tour and then a picnic.
It's a great idea.
What?
Party bus.
Party, all right, maybe we will get a party bus. I think I know a sponsor, possible sponsor. Wow.
No, I think a picnic's a good idea too, so.
I do, wouldn't that be fun?
Networking.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
No subtleties tonight.
But it was, I thought it was really good. And as I told the group before we left City Hall, the best thing was, other than Teresa taking notes, nobody was taking notes and they could say whatever they wanted. And we usually don't get that opportunity very often to just, you know,
Be off the cuff.
be off the cuff. I thought it was good.
I agree.
Thanks city
Thanks
staff
for your
for
work.
you guys' help putting that together. I thought it was good.
So
It was kind of Travis's idea, but I stole it and used it and made it sound like it was mine.
I'm used to that, Mayor.
All right, the last topic, boy.
The most exciting time of the night.
As you know, Justin is our ISG rep. He's a professional engineer, and he asked that we would recognize August 7th as Professional Engineers Day. Now, is it Professional Engineers Day across the whole country, or is it just you can pick a day?
So, I believe across the whole country, and it was
Okay.
part of the South Dakota Engineering Society.
Yes.
And ACDC trying to get more promotion for the professional engineering licensure, and it's not only civil engineers, but all of our engineers across the state that help do the work.
Yep.
We need,
And
so.
the proclamation reads, licensed professional engineers are dedicated to applying scientific knowledge, mathematics, ingenuity, and develop solutions for technical, societal, and commercial problems while holding paramount the public health, safety, and welfare. And whereas the City of Hartford licensed professional engineers have made significant contributions on the local and national scale, and the City of Hartford's economy has grown in part because of licensed professional engineers and are instrumental to our community. So, on August 7th, 2024 has been declared Professional Engineers Day by the South Dakota Engineering Society in conjunction with the National Society of Professional Engineers, an organization founded in 1934 that represents the interest of licensed professional engineers and those on the path to licensee, who show the highest level of dedication in their profession in all 50 states, and where now, therefore, I, Arden Jones, Mayor of Hartford, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim August 7th Professional Engineer Day in Hartford. Next week we'll do.
And next year, we need an ISG team in the chamber to golf out.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. There was nobody serving refreshments this year by the tee box.
Okay.
So we do run you up the pole, but we expect excellence. Because you're a professional engineer, now that we have this, we're gonna frame this. So every time we wanna run you up, all we're gonna do, we're gonna put it here on the wall, we're just gonna point. Okay, how's that?
You know, I think I got the win though by you saying that tonight. So, you know.
Did you record it? Oh, it is recorded. You'll probably go on and pull that snippet off and see, look at what he said, he didn't even hardly have to stammer. Do we have anything for executive session?
Personnel.
Yes.
Motion to go into executive session.
All right.
for Personnel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.